Hey, how you doing out there? This is Stiletto coming at you from the Wild Wild West. Well, today we're going to do the conclusion video on the SOGs, on the new SOGs. The new SOG XRs I've tried out. I'm going to do a conclusion video. And this one, we'll see after we talk about these. Terminus XR, Pentagon XR, TAC XR, Vision XR. The Vision. This one's the best manipulator, best fidgeter. Opens super smoothly from any option, whether it be your finger studs, or if you want to just use the lock bar release, or if you want to use the flipper. This one is my favorite. It's the one with the CTSX HP, stainless steel, 3.36 inch blade, 8 inches long altogether, G10 scales, stainless steel, thick stainless steel liners, I think it's 3.17 or something, like almost 3.2 millimeters thick. This is the thickest one, also has the thickest blade. It's probably the reason why it opens and closes the easiest, because the blade has more weight to it. This is the one I like the best out of all the ones I've tried from the Terminus line. From the XR line. The only one I haven't tried that I'm interested in still trying out is the Seal, the American-made one. This one's made in Taiwan. This one is different from the Chinese version because the stainless steel liners are encased or embedded inside of the G10 scales. So you can't actually see them. I was thinking it was just finished really nice, but I found out from doing some exploration on the Pentagon that the steel liners, the stainless steel liners, are embedded inside of the G10 handle scales. It makes for a real nice clean finish and build. This one is the smoothest. The next smoothest one is this one, the Pentagon. But the Pentagon has some flaws because the blade hits the backspacer. But I took it apart and see if I could diagnose what was causing it. And it's the way that the tang is made, so you can't change that. And it just comes down a little bit too far. But I think this one could be repaired easily though. All you have to do is just, because you got lots of material on this backspacer on the inside. And if you remove some of the material and sand it down and make it look nice, I think that would cure that problem. Because when this one closes, it comes all the way down. And it sort of needs to come all the way down because of the way the blade tip is. Because if it was up a little bit higher, you get a sharp exposed edge. And I don't know if you want to do that. And that's just barely coming off the handle scale. Because this one, when it closes all the way down and the thumb studs rest on the handle scale. And that's the reason why it's hard to open it with the thumb studs. Because you got to get your thumb stud underneath it, in between the handle scale and a thumb stud in order to open it like that. It's real easy to open though if you just use the other options. The only option that's kind of tricky to use is the thumb studs. But it can be done though. And it operates real smoothly. The only thing that's wrong with this one is that the blade hits the backspacer. And it's just barely hitting it just enough to hit the blade. And I know after a while it's going to probably dull the blade. You know, if you're constant flipping it back and forth. Because it's cutting a groove into the backspacer. A real light groove, but it's enough to probably damage some of the edge over a period of time. I think if you took like a Dremel tool or just some sandpaper or something, you took it apart, removed the backspacer from the knife, and you just sand it out where you see the cutting line at, just enough to get you know, below the point where the blade's going to hit it. I think it worked just fine. I think that's the way to solve that problem. So this one is really nice, and I think it'd be solved really easy by doing that. That'd be my advice on this one, because I really like this knife, and I really like the style of it, and I don't want to send it back because it's a really little simple fix. It's not a big time fix. But for the price that this knife costs, you shouldn't have that issue. It should come from the factory perfect, like all these other ones did. This is the only one that has an issue. All the other ones are perfectly fine. And I'm not sure, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out if it's a factory flaw, because I have another one, and we're going to check it out. And if it's a factory flaw, I'm not going to worry about it because it's a simple fix. And this knife operates super smoothly. If it wasn't for that, it'd be just as smooth as the Vision. But because of the blade hitting the backspacer and the thumb stud riding so low that it's hard to use the thumb studs, it's a little bit tricky. It can be done. Once you learn how to do it, it can be done. It's really a smooth knife, and it's really, the rest of it is perfectly fine, except for that one issue. This one, the TAC XR, the Chinese versions. These are the ones made in China. These two are made in Taiwan, and they both have the CTS XHP steel, so they have the better steel. And they're also the more expensive versions. The versions that are very more affordable are the Chinese versions of the SOG XR. And this one is my favorite of those two, the TAC. The TAC operates perfect. And the thing that I noticed that's different about these is that the way that the detent is in these, you can't flick them open. I'm not using the lock bar switch at all. That's what I'm talking about. Just flicking it without using anything, just holding onto the handle and just wrist flicking it. These you can't do it because the detent won't let you do it. Which is kind of cool in a way though, because then nobody can say it's a gravity knife, right? But once you touch the thumb stud, it almost works like an assistant knife, the way that the blade just pops out. The thumb studs, the lock switch, or the flipper. This one operates perfect. Operates perfect. I would highly recommend the TAC. I think it's the best value out of all of these, as far as value is concerned, and cost and value. It costs less than half as much as these, and it only costs, I don't know, 20 bucks more than this one. But this is probably the best value. I think this one's the best value. If you ask me, I think it's the best value. And it operates really nicely. And the scales are different. This one has exposed stainless steel scales. The Chinese versions have exposed stainless steel scales instead of being encased inside the G10. So these handles are a little bit thicker. The backspacer I thought was originally aluminum. It's not. It's G10. I absolutely love it. As far as the function's concerned, this is my second favorite. I really love the Pentagon though, because I like the way it looks. I like the style of the Pentagon. This one is probably the best, one of the best EDCs too, because of the cut of the blade. The way it has a continuous belly, like a Persian style blade. It'd probably be the best cutter, and it's got a full flat grind. So you know it's going to be a nice slicer. So for your everyday cutting chores, this one would probably be one of the best ones too. This one and the smaller one, I would say. But me, I like Tontos. Tontos are my favorite. And I like the Persian style blades too, and I like daggers. I love them all. But this one is awesome. Operates super smooth. It runs on ball bearings. I absolutely love it. I highly recommend the TAC XR. It doesn't have any issues. Mine didn't have any issues, just like my Vision. My Vision didn't have any issues either. And like I was saying, these you can flip though. The ones from Taiwan you can flip without using the lock bar switch. And that you can't do on the Chinese ones. So the manufacturing is a little bit different. It's definitely different the way that they put these together. This was my favorite. Next up, I've been carrying this one for a couple of days now, and it broke in. It's really smooth now. At first, this one was real gritty. It was like tight and gritty, and I loosened it. I took Wild Bill's advice, and I loosened up the pivot a little bit, put a little bit more oil in it, and then just played with it, and all of a sudden it started working really nice. And I tightened back up the pivot because I didn't want any blade wobble, and it's been working perfectly ever since. This one has a deep carry pocket clip. Oh, that's another thing I'm going to tell you about this one. I'm not sure, but it looks like this one can use the same deep carry pocket clip. So you have more options for pocket clips. I think this one, the TAC XR, can use the Terminus XR's pocket clip. It looks like it can. It's got the same holes right there and right there, and it's got the slot for the pocket clip. So you can put a deep carry pocket clip just like this one. I haven't done it, but it looks like you can do it. You can take this one, or you can put this one from the Terminus and put it on the TAC if you wanted to, or get one like the Terminus and put it on the TAC if you want a deep carry. Me, myself, I've been carrying this one with the deep carry pocket clip, and I can't say I'm a big fan of the deep carry pocket clip. I like having a little bit of something to grab. The deep carry pocket clip for me is because these pocket clips are really tight. They fit on your pants really tight. Luckily the G10 is not really aggressive because it'd be sort of like a cold steel pocket clip where you're not going to lose your knife with one of these pocket clips. Your pants can be totally, you can be totally upside down and being shaken and whatever, and the knife's not going to fall out your pocket. Like a Benchmade. My Benchmade would probably fall out my pocket if I would have did it like that because it's not as tight as these. But these pocket clips are very strong and they fit really tight. The ones that say SOG on them. But this one works nice too. And I've been playing with it. It's a great knife. The only reason why it's not one of my tops is because I like a little bit bigger knife. But this one's a great, like if you want to carry two knives like I do lots of times, this would be a great second knife. Well, there they are. And that's my thoughts and views on these. I'd highly recommend this one, the Terminus, the TAC, and the Vision. And if you can deal with the backspacer, I would recommend this one. I can deal with the backspacer because I know how to fix things. I know how to modify things so they'll work right. Because lots of times when I got cold steels, they'd have slight flaws in them or something like that, or something that wouldn't work as smoothly as I want it to. So I would remedy the solution. I'd take it apart and look at it and figure it out. And that's what I did on this one. And I'm going to do it to this one too. Once I figure this out and sand it down, I'll do another video on this one just to show you how it can be done and how easy it can be done. Because it's all it is G10 that you have to take a little material off of. It's not a big deal. All right, well, let's see what this one is. Coming from Geneva Supply, aka SOG. I wonder what this one is. Let's find out. Terminus, you're up. Terminus gets to do the unboxing. Here we go. Here we go. I know what it is. I know what it is. I think it's something I was telling you guys about. Here we go. Studies and observation grip. It's the Pentagon. It's the Pentagon. This is the custom Pentagon. Okay, we'll find out if it has the same issue. Ooh. I'm in love. There it is there. And this is the one I was telling you about. From SOG. Custom. Got my name on it. Stiletto. This is the one SOG did for me. My Pentagon. Okay, let's see if this one, the blade hits. This one may not be hitting. It's not making the metal sound. I don't think this one's hitting. Nope, I don't see no scars on the backspacer. So that might have just been that one. I was thinking it was going to be a design flaw. Now this one's not hitting. Okay. The thumb studs still ride pretty low though. Some thumb studs are still hard to use. I see a little bit of a mark right here. So it is touching it a little bit. So that might be just part of the Pentagon. I see it just touching. It's like touching right at the forward part of the tip, right about here. Right about on this part of the knife. And if I was to open and close it hard like I've been doing this one, it probably might cut into a little bit further. So I'm just gonna go ahead and Dremel. I'm gonna take it apart and Dremel that part out, so I have plenty of space. Because the thumb stud rests on the handle scale, so it can't go any further than that. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. It's a little bit sticky. That's how all of them are when you first get them. They're a little bit sticky. They need to be played with a little bit. That's how my Benchmades are too. The Axis Lock Benchmade, my 391. I have 3 of them, and all of them are sticky. But once you use them and play with them, they loosen up really nicely. This one has a better detent. I can't flick it. Let's see what I'm saying with this one. I'm not using the lock switch or anything. I'm just wrist flicking it. This one can be wrist flicked. Okay. I don't hear it hitting. I don't hear that tingy sound. So if this one is hitting, it's not hitting as hard. That's what's happening. Oh, wait a minute. There's a little bit of a tingy sound. Now I'm hearing a little bit of tingy sound. The tingy sound is from when it hits the backspacer. I still love it though. I still love it. Stiletto. I love it. This is going to be in my box. I'm keeping this one in my box. I really like that. I really like that. And if you want to, you can have them. You could have a SOG engrave, or not engrave it, but put your name on yours too. They put their name on it. They give you a bunch of options. And for a little extra fee, they put your name on there, or whatever you want on there. Absolutely love it. Let's put them this way so you can see. Ooh, shouldn't grab it by the blade. There we go. Absolutely love them. Those are my SOGs. These are all of my SOGs. I've never owned a SOG before until now, because I wanted to check out their access lock. Next lock I'm going to check out is the Able lock, the Hogue Able. I've heard some good things about that one. I want to check that one out. I want to check out the Deca, the blacked out Deca, and I want a blacked out Hogue Ritter, the full size one. It sort of looks like a Benchmade to me, like what is it, the Griplin? I'm not sure I'm not sure the name of that because I don't know all the little different Benchmades, but I think it's like a Griplin sort of. It's got that same type of handle look shape, and the blade is like it's more like a standard blade, like a standard cutting edge like this or like that. These are beautiful. I really like the way these look, the Pentagons. I really like the Pentagons, the way that looks. I think as far as the appearance or the looks are concerned, the Pentagon is #1 for me. I like the way it looks the best. It's the reason why I even bothered to check out the rest of these, is because I saw the Pentagon, a review on the Pentagon, and it made me want to get a Pentagon. At first I was going to get the Arc Lot, the one that was like this, with a 4-inch blade. But then I saw Cold Steel do a strength test on it, and the handle was like really weak. And it showed me how, and Andrew squeezes the handle, and the handle flexes really good, like one of those Benchmade bug outs. They got the real weak handles, and I don't want a knife with a weak handle. I like knives with strong handles. See, this one doesn't flex at all. You can't make this one flex. That one doesn't flex at all. That's what I like. That's the way a handle's supposed to be. These weigh a little bit more than like probably most knives this size, though, because the handles are stout. They give you a really good handle. I bet you these XR locks are strong as far as a crossbar lock is concerned. I know crossbar locks aren't as strong as the lockbacks in a really good lockback or the triad lock, which is the best lockback type of lockback knife. But the Benchmade access lock, and competing against Cold Steel has always done good. So I've always had good faith in access lock. I've never had one fail on me. I've been carrying access lock knives for a long time. The first one I had was the Benchmade, I think it was a 805 D2 or something like that. 805 or 806 D2. I had the D2 version. And it had an oval hole instead of a round hole. And I carried that one for like 7 years. And somebody wanted to buy it off me, and it was all beat up looking and worn out looking, and the paint was all worn, the finish, the Cerakote was all worn off the blade and everything. And I'd use it for fishing. I used it for hunting, fishing, and just carrying as an EDC, for like 7 years. And somebody offered me more than I paid for it, brand new, as a beat up folder. But at that time though, like the Benchmades, especially like the ones with the titanium liners, like the 800s, they were like selling for a lot of money, like twice as much as they were brand new, because I guess there was like something going on with titanium or something, and all of a sudden titanium became real expensive. Because Cold Steel used to use titanium in their knives too, like the Tilites. That's where the name Tilite comes from, titanium light. The handles were made out of titanium. Now they use 7075 aluminum instead of the titanium. But I remember I have a whole bunch of balisongs, Benchmade balisongs. They're all made out of titanium, and they weren't even expensive. They were like $100 when I bought them. Now they're worth $500 or $600. But yeah, that goes to show you that if you buy the right knives, not necessarily the most expensive knives either, just the right knives, the ones that people really like, and they're made out of things that people really like. That's an important thing, is that if you're getting something as a collector, you have to get something that's desirable at that point in time, because later on when they get old, the people that get old with them that remember them, they'll be the people that want to collect them, because they'll remember that they used to have something like that and they wanted it back, and they wanted it again, and they'll be the ones who be willing to pay the nice price for it, for something that's like in really mint condition or in good shape. I've sold a lot of knives over my lifetime that became collectors. Like I had the complete collection of the Archangels. I think they were called Archangels. The cold steel Archangels with the 3V steel, or whatever. They're the kind of steel that they had. It was a carbon steel. I can't remember. And they had titanium, billet titanium handles. And I bought those for like about $125 a piece or whatever. I had the complete set of every blade shape. And I never used them because, I don't know, I like my bench blades better. And so they just sat in boxes or whatever. And I don't know, like 15 years later, somebody saw the videos I made of them, and they asked me if I'd sell them. I said, no, I don't want to sell them because you can't buy these anymore or whatever. You know, they're irreplaceable, and I won't be able to get them and replace them. And he goes, well, I'll tell you what, I'll give you $600 for one of them. And I said, no, I can't do that. If I was going to sell it, I'd have to sell the whole set. And so he ended up giving me $1,800 for the whole set. The 3 knives I paid like $300 for, like $375 for all 3 of them. And that was my biggest profit off of a knife. That I didn't really want to sell them, and the guy, I guess he really wanted them really bad, so he bought all of them. Now that's just an example of if you buy the right knives at the right time and you get them for the right price when they're brand new, especially, and you keep them that way, and you keep them looking brand new, and you keep them functioning like a brand new knife. Later on when they become more desirable, then you can resell them. Another good example of that is like the Tau Wars. The Tau Wars have really jumped in price because it's a super popular cold steel knife that Cold Steel stopped making for some stupid reason. Excuse my French. For some stupid reason, it's like my favorite. It's like my favorite cold steel. This one's been all polished, internally and externally. But this is my Oz 8 one. I've had this for years, and I love it. This is one of my favorite knives to carry while I'm riding my motorcycle. I like to carry this one in my right pocket, and I'll carry its match, the holdout. It's been all polished inside and out. I'll carry this one in my vest pocket, my leather vest, or in my jacket, leather jacket. So I have this one for fast access and this one for backup. I only roll like that when I ride motorcycles, though, and I'm riding with all my buddies or whatever. And you never know what we're going to get into. But I love the Cold Steel Tau War. And that's the reason why I've got this one, because it reminds me of the Tau War. Absolutely love the TAC XR. TAC XR rocks. TAC XR is awesome. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the Pentagon. It's just sort of rubbed me a little bit the wrong way for a knife that costs this much, that the blade edge hits the backspacer. And I think it is a factory flaw for this run of knives because I have 2 of them and both of them hit the backspacer. This one hits it hard, this one doesn't hit it as hard. But they're still both hitting the backspacer. But it's an easy fix, you know, because I took this one apart. It wasn't hard to take apart. It's really easy to take apart. This is actually easier to take apart and maintain than a Benchmade. I don't know, the springs are easier to remove. The Benchmades, I replaced the springs on my Benchmade. The springs came. Springs came for the Benchmade, and it's back online. I replaced the springs in it. It's working perfectly again. It was never did stop working. Even with the broken spring, it still worked perfectly fine. It's just I didn't want to carry it because I was worried about the other spring breaking. But this is one that brought me back to the access locks, or the crossbar style locks. Was this one. I had I have Contigos that I got before this one, but I didn't really carry the Contigos. Even though I really love the Contigos. I know a lot of you guys complain that there's too much jimping or whatever, but I like that. I like something that just, you know, that grips into my hand, so it makes me not want to, makes it not want to fly out my hand. I like that. I think it's a good, can I say self-defense knife? Because of the handle, because you know when you're holding it. But I love this one because, to me, this is a tactical stiletto. And I don't have it just flopping all over the place because I put it together a little bit tighter this time. So there is no blade wobble side to side or up and down. There's no blade wobble at all on this one now. When you loosen it up, the blade will just fly open and close. But that might be the reason why I broke the spring too, though. Because maybe I had it too loose, I don't know. And it's too much trauma for the spring, I don't know. So I put it back the way it's supposed to be. But this way too, you know, it'd be hard. Well, it's still wrist flicks. This one operates the easiest. I know a lot of you guys don't like Benchmade because of the politics, but you gotta give them their props. So this knife is really beautiful, and the Contigo's really. I love the Contigo. Now I would probably like the Cricket River too. I like that. I like the way that one looks. I've been tempted to get that one. The Bedlam, I like the way it looks, but it's kind of heavy. Like 7.2 ounces or something like that. And the blade's only 3 millimeters, the same thickness as this blade. But the handle is made so I think it's like one of these. Like the TAC XR, where you got a 3 millimeter blade and you got a super strong handle. I think this handle is probably super strong for this size of knife. It weighs 5.2 ounces with a 3.36 inch blade, which is a fairly small blade. Most knives with that size of blade are pretty light. This one isn't. And it's because of the handle. But I really like the TAC XR. The TAC XR rocks. The TAC XR is really nice. Highly recommend it. But the Benchmade, this is the one that got me back into the access locks and wanting to try out some different access locks. And the reason why I want to try out some of these, because this one looks really intimidating. If somebody saw me carrying this at work, I don't know how that would go. And I've been carrying it like, you know, I didn't really care because I just love the knife so much. But that's the reason why you see all my knives are all black. The knives that I carry to work are always all black. I don't carry anything that's flashy to work because I don't want any of the people that I work with to see anything in my pocket or whatever, because I don't know how they would react. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if they're, you know, because I go to work. I don't go to work to be socializing with people and stuff like that. I go to work and I do my job, make my money, pay my bills, and take care of my business. And so I don't really, I have a work relationship with all the people I work with. I don't have like a personal relationship, so I'm not that close with people. But anyway, I like to get all black knives because if you do pull them out, less people are going to see it because there's no glare, there's no flash. It's not like a fishing lure where it'll attract your attention because it's shiny. Anything that's shiny will always attract people's attention, just like it does other animals in the wild. When you use fishing lures, you want the shiny ones always catch the most fish. So, you know, they reflect the sun, you know what I mean? So I stay away from shiny stuff for things I actually carry to work. And that's the reason why all these are black. You can get this one all sorts of different colors and handle colors, and these, I think the TAC XR and the Pentagon, you can get them with OD green handles. The even OD green handles sort of stand out too, you know what I mean? So I think this one, the Vision, only comes in black. I haven't seen one of these in green. And these are all black. These are just like this. The only difference, you can get one of these with a partially serrated blade. But I really love the TAC XR. But let me tell you this, so when you first get them, they're not super smooth when you first get them. You have to get them and put a little oil in it, play with the pivot a little bit, and then use them. And after a day or so, they get smooth. I know, like the Hogue that I have, the push button Hogue, that's got to be the smoothest knife, one of the smoothest knives I've ever received. It came right from the factory, super smooth because I bought it brand new, and it was super smooth. And I can see why, because like if you look inside of it, all the parts are polished on the inside. There is no rough spots. There isn't anything, no grind lines or anything. Those knives are well built. The quality level on them is super high for a Hogue knife. Probably higher than any knife that I've ever owned. I know me myself, I don't like to ever spend over $200 on a pocket knife. I know a lot of people like to spend a lot more and stuff like that. So I don't know what the $400 or $500 pocket knives are like. I'd expect them to be like a Hogue, where they're super smooth and everything polished. Otherwise, why are you paying $400 or $500 for it if it's not perfect? For that amount of money, I would expect a perfect knife. But for the $100 to $200 range, I expect a really good knife. And then like, I don't know, $100 or less, then I don't know. Well, there's a lot of good knives for like about $60 to $75 and above. But when you start going below the $60 mark, then you get into what I call beater knives. And this one's below 60. This one was $40, or I think it was $43. I think this one was $65. So this bunch, these would be what I would call, they would be in the beater knife category because of the cost of them. But this is a nice knife. It's more like a $100 knife. I think it's worth $65 all day long. It's just as nice as any of these. The only thing different is it has D2 instead of CTX XHP. It's made in China instead of Taiwan. I don't know what that's supposed to mean, but I know Taiwan makes a lot of good knives. I know China, a lot of times you can get some junk from China. Like a long time ago I bought a bunch of balisongs, because I used to be a knife dealer. I bought a bunch of balisongs, and they were M-Techs from Master Cutlery, I think it was. And those things were junk. The metal that they use, I don't know what kind of metal they use, but it was like some of the crappiest knives I've ever seen. And I thought they were straight up junk. And so I never bought from that company again. But I'm going to try out some Axis lock knives from Master Tech. They're calling themselves Elite Tactical now. The ones that they're selling is called Elite Tactical, but they're made by Master Cutlery or M-Tech. And I'm just going to try them out because they were suggested to me by Wild Bill, and he was right about the Kershaw. The Kershaw I like, the Kershaw Induction, and I like. There's a lot of bad things people were saying about that, but the Hawk Lock, and that one works perfectly fine. I think it was a great knife for $20 or whatever I paid for it, and I think it's a great knife. Worked perfectly fine. Lockup was solid. It was really smooth. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that would be long term. I'm not going to carry it long term because I don't know. Maybe I'm getting older and I'm turning into a little bit of a steel snob. But I don't know. I like better steels than like the cheap Chinese steels. But I just want to check out the knife to see what he was saying was true or not, and it was. It is a perfectly good knife. But these have D2, which is a good steel, and it's cryogenically heat treated, D2. And these have CTS XHP steel, which is a premium steel. And that's the reason why these cost twice as much as these. But also, I love this. I love the Pentagon design. I just can't stop looking at it. It's a beautiful knife. It sort of reminds me of the Russian Mikov, or even the Cold Steel Counterpoint. I think it was the Counterpoint 1. The medium-sized Counterpoint is about the same size as this. I love it. They're beautiful knives. The only problem with these is that they hit the backspacer. The blades touch the backspacer, so if you don't want your edge to get messed up, I suggest dremeling a little bit off the back, taking it apart and dremeling a little bit off the backspacer. So it won't hit the backspacer and ruin your edge. Dull your edge out over a period of time. If you want one that's going to function perfectly right off the bat, it'd be a great fidgeting knife. Out of all these, the best fidgeter is the Vision, and that's what this hunt's all about. We're looking for the best fidgeter. I'm looking for the best looking knife. I'm looking for the best fidgeter, most fun to play with, have in your pocket when you got some spare time, sitting on a toilet and at work, whatever. And you just want to fidget with something. This is an awesome knife. Awesome. I'm curious to see what the Hogues are going to be like though, because I expect the Hogues to be like the EX01 that I have. I expect it to be like a perfect knife. And the Hogue's about the same size. I think the Hogue has, the one I'm getting is like a 3.4 inch blade. I think that's what it was, a Hogue, the Hogue Ritter. And then the Deca, I think, has a 3.25 inch blade. But it has a, and both of them have 20 CV. And both of them run on phosphor bronze washers. And the Hogue Ritter was almost a 3.2 millimeter blade, and the other one's like a 2 something millimeter blade. It's a real thin blade. I saw the videos on it, but you know, because it's a thin and the size of it makes a great EDC, and it'd be an awesome slicer. And for like, you know, like my little second knife, I usually like, you know, that I carry or whatever sometimes. I like it to be a small knife, and the one I used to always carry for a small knife is this one. I don't know if you guys know about these. They don't make these no more. That's a Cold Steel Mini Lawman. I absolutely love this little knife. I've carried this one everywhere. I like the grip on it because it can be a great emergency knife. Look at that. Look at that grip. Bam. Get a full grip on it. Or you can have a partial grip, like a 3-finger grip, if you don't want your finger next to the blade. I think this is like a 2, and it might be 3 inches. I think it's more like 2 point something or something. I don't know. But this is one I carry when, and I'll pull it out in front of other people, like if I have to open up some packages or mail or something like that. I'm not worried about pulling it in front of people because it's so small. But it's still a tactical knife. It's still got to try a lot. CTS HHP steel, DLC coated, G10 handles. And I don't even know how much it weighs, maybe a couple ounces, 2.5 ounces or something like that. It's super light. But this has always been my favorite little knife. And I have the little AK-47 and the little Recon 1. The little Recon 1. Not the micro Recon 1, but the smaller Recon 1. And I always like this one the best. And I have also the little holdouts too. Those are the little knives that I have. I've always liked this one the best. This one's the one that's always stayed in my drawer, and I carry a lot. You can see stuff on the blade. And this one needs to be resharpened. It's getting dull because I use it. Great little knife. Absolutely love these. Absolutely love the XR line, guys. Guys and gals, if you want a good EDC, if you're not, now these are kind of expensive, but these aren't. These are to me, these are what I would call super affordable. Anything's like under like $70, $75, that's becomes affordable to me. I think that's an inexpensive price, especially for what you're getting. You're getting a lot of quality for the price that you're getting, especially with this one. And this one too, because this is only like $43. And when you first get it, it's a little rough. It needs to be broken in, no doubt. It's a little bit rough, needs to be broken in. But other than that, it's a very high quality knife. You got thick stainless steel liners, G10 handle scales, and a Cryo D2 blade. That's a lot for $40. So you're getting a lot for $40 actually. And I think the blade's 3 inches. It's a very good little blade. If you just want a little EDC, it's a nice little blade. And it's a handsome looking knife too. It looks really good. The dimensions of it and the handle, and you could get a full grip on it. It's easy to choke up on and do cutting chores. Highly recommend the Terminus. Highly recommend it. Like I said, I've been carrying it to work because I wanted to break it in. Let you guys know if it had any issues. And it doesn't. This one works perfectly, this one works perfectly, and this one works perfectly. And this one almost works perfectly, except for the blade hitting the backspacer. It doesn't hit it super bad. It can be easily fixed. It's not a big deal. It's not worth sending it back to the factory. That's what I'm saying. I'm not going to send mine back to the factory. At first I thought I might, but then I saw what was wrong with it. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go through all the hassle of and send something back and having to wait for it to come back and all that kind of mess. I could just, you know, take it apart in a couple of minutes. I could fix that issue. And it'd be perfectly fine. Absolutely love these. That's about all I got for you today. Next up will probably be the Hogues. I'll probably be doing some Hogues. I'm waiting on my Ritter to get here. My Ritter and my Deca to get here. And when they get here, I'll do some videos on them. Probably might either be the end of this week or maybe the beginning of next week before you see another video from me. And it'll be the Hogues. I really like them. I really like these. I'm glad I got them. This one's, oh, it's good. These are so sexy looking. This one works so beautifully. This was a great work knife. Great knife to take to work. You don't have to worry about anybody freaking out when they see it. I've taken this one to work too, though. And I've used it in front of people at work. Nobody said nothing. But this one looks more aggressive than this one, though, because it's got the Tonto. But it's not super aggressive. It's like a Tonto with a little bit of belly, though. I like it. It cuts really, really nice. Works awesomely well. All right, well, that's it. That's all I got to say for today. Next up will be Hogues. I think we're going to be doing some Hogues next. Peace out.